Hey everyone, this is Daniel Rama. Short tutorial on how to build your own handstand canes. I have to mention that I'm not in construction, I'm not a carpenter. There's probably an easier way to do this, but I managed, so I'm sure you'll be fine. Step one is gathering your materials. The tools that we're going to need, I have laid out a drill bit, little pencil, tape measure, might need a screwdriver, and I've also got a socket wrench. You could do this with a skill saw, getting some power tools out, but I opted for the more manly route, going with a handsaw. Next we have our hardware. So I have 8 screws, or 8 kind of bolt looking things, with 8 washers and 8 nuts. Got a pair or a bunch of wood screws, and the circular doodads that you see are called floor flanges, and these will basically mount your poles to both the handles and to the base or the frame. Then finally I have the poles themselves. So I have 2 30-inch poles and 2 6-inch poles. One is going to be easier, one is going to be harder, one will look cooler, one will just be more so for practice. All of this stuff you can get at a hardware store for under 20 bucks. Finally, our wood. So I just found these 2x4s on the street yesterday. Keeping costs down again. They're free, so why the hell not? Very simple. Step 2 is preparing the base. So I've laid out here a little cross frame. It's basically a big H or an I. You can also create a base that is one solid sheet. The sheet will give you more stability, yet the frame base is going to be a little bit more portable. So whichever option you want to go for, I'm going to do the frame today. Okay, so we're going to cut our lengths of wood. For me, I'm doing 2 lengths of 26, and the middle piece is going to be 29. Basically, the larger your base, the more stability you're going to have. Usually if it's more stable, you just compromise on the portability. Okay, so here we've got the frame just laid out so you can have a better understanding of what it will look like. And on to step 3, the hardware. Okay, so we're going to just measure everything real quick. You want to find the center of your middle piece, and then from the center, for my shoulders, I keep my flanges 16 inches apart. If you have a more narrow set of shoulders, then maybe they'll be closer. But so you can see here, I have them laid out, and I've just got my flanges on at 16 inches apart, going to mark exactly where I'm drilling the holes. Okay, so quite simple. Okay. Alright, so now we're drilling some stuff. Now you'd really impress me if you have a hand drill, get more of a workout in. But if you don't, then a power drill will work too. Or maybe you have some kind of laser vision that can pierce holes. Not likely. So obviously this is a pretty important step. You have to make sure that the holes are exactly where you want them to be. Otherwise you're not going to be able to mount your floor flanges. Quite simple. Moving on to the other side. Do 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 do. Okay, perfect. So now we're going to attach everything. Just mounting it on with your bolts. Screw these in a little bit by hand and then finish them off with a screwdriver. Obviously, again, you can use a drill, but this way you're getting some body motion in, working the forearms a little bit. You can think of this like a warm-up for the end. At this stage, the bolts, they don't need to be screwed in super tight. You basically just want to get them flush with the flanges. We're going to be tightening everything with the washers and the nuts. Almost there. Okay, pulling it all together. So first you want to add your washers. This is basically so they don't pull right through the wood underneath the pressure. And then you finish it off with the nuts. So again, just put them on loosely with the hand. And then you can use a regular wrench, an adjustable wrench, a socket wrench, whatever works. It's going to be the same amount of manpower, so I went with the socket wrench because it's a little easier. These, you want to finish them pretty tightly. You might notice that the washers kind of countersink into the wood. That's all right, but just be wary. You don't want anything to crack. We want to try and maintain the integrity of the structure. But at the end of the day, if you created this from something you found on the street, it's probably going to be not the best anyways. Okay, putting it together. So we want to check our frame, make sure we've got the shape proper. I like to use a little L square, but again, if you found this on the street, they might be twisted. It's probably not going to be perfect anyways. Once you have it set the way that you want, we're going to add some screws to the side. So I'm going to stand in the middle piece, just applying some pressure so nothing moves. And for mine, 3 screws in either side were sufficient. If you want to use more, go ahead. If you have some other method of fastening, go ahead. Probably don't use nails. They just don't resist the stress as well as screws do. Okay, solid. So finally we're adding our poles. These basically, if you have the floor flanges and the poles, they just screw in. Also, I should have mentioned that at the hardware store, you'll find the poles in the natural gas section, okay? Screwing on our handles, again, if you haven't made those handles, it's just basically I glued 2 pieces of wood together. You could also use a little section of your 2x4. So testing it, making sure it's not too wobbly. And that's basically it. So hopefully if you followed these very amateur instructions, you'll be able to get your handstand practice to the next level. It's not bad for minor tears in my rotator cuff. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. All the best. Thanks for watching.